The views and opinions expressed by Chris Morrison on the Couch Potatoes, History We Forgot, the Cryptic Conspiracy Cult, and Now Dark Discoveries are presented for entertainment, discussion, and educational speculation only. Chris is not a licensed historian, archaeologist, cryptozoologist, anthropologist, or government whistleblower, at least as far as we know. Any claims regarding historical events, hidden knowledge, secret societies, cryptids, paranormal encounters, obscure government files should be considered interpretations and theories and personal viewpoints, not verified facts. Listeners are encouraged to do their own research, consult multiple sources, and arrive at their own conclusions. Nothing in these episodes are intended to defame, accuse, maybe defame, or harm any individual, groups, or organizations, creatures, natural or supernatural, or cryptids currently under surveillance by the FBI. If you find yourself believing everything Chris says without question, please take a moment, drink some water, touch some grass, and maybe get yourself a psychological evaluation. Welcome back to Dark Discoveries. And as always, I'm your host, Dustin, and I'm here with
Jimbo.
And I'm Jackie.
And as you could tell from the introduction, we have a very special guest, one Chris Morrison. He is the leader of the cult of Morrison. He has the green flavorate to prove it. Jim Jones took the purple, so I couldn't get him purple, but he's got green. J. Edgar Hoover's half-century reign over the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, is a chilling testament to the dangers of unchecked power. His dark side truly blossomed in the post-1930s, particularly after the high-profile capture of Alvin Creepy Karpis in May of 1936. The success allowed Hoover to cement his reputation as the nation's premier crime fighter, simultaneously marginalizing any potential rivals, notably Melvin Purvis, whose popular fame from the gangster era was, kind of going after Dillinger and those high-profile gangsters. Purvis's subsequent resignation in July of 1935 removed the last significant internal threat to Hoover's absolute control, paving the way for a bureau shaped entirely by his will and obsessions. From that point, Hoover dedicated himself to maintaining his unprecedented power, often through illicit means, demonstrating a profound disregard for civil liberties and a controversial stance on organized crime, and the deep-seated animosity that culminated in the egregious actions against figures like Martin Luther King Jr., and it fueled a lingering suspicion around JFK's assassination. So after the gangster era, and we can talk about kind of the gangster era, any means necessary. They weren't going to capture these guys; they were going to kill them in cold blood. So already, in that time, he's not really working around the way that we would in law enforcement. So after the gangster era effectively ended, Hoover shifted his focus to the escalating anxieties of the Cold War and at the advantage of systematically expanding his personal institutional control. His unstable thirst for power was evident in every aspect of his leadership, with some historians suggesting he harbored ambitions of being president himself, or at very least wielding a presidential level authority without the burden of being elected.
But let me go ahead and interject. What people fail to realize is that when Hoover took over the FBI in 1924, it was already plagued with corruption, political influence, disorganization. There was already a lot of that going on. When he came in, he actually brought standards to the FBI where he said, hey, we're going to make our guys have a degree in education. We're not just taking anybody.
We're not going to give them a gun, but we're going to give them an education and send them out there with no gun to defend themselves so they can get murdered in cold blood.
Right. But you got to say, is it better?
He sent his
do
people
things
out for
better
slaughter.
or worse than the person before him? Because who was he? Who was before him? Do you know, Dustin?
I don't know. Do you know, Chris? Since this is Jimbo's things to put you on the spot and try to come up with something to interject with you.
Well, I think what you're trying to talk about is the BOI, the Bureau of Investigation, which was before the FBI, which is like during like McKinley's time, and McKinley, got killed because secret police don't fucking work. So I think his last name was Bonaparte or some shit, was the guy before him, but I think he might have been an attorney general instead. I don't know much about the BOI other than it kind of sets the groundwork for J. Edgar Hoover and his policies when he comes in charge of what is the FBI, because the context for J. Edgar Hoover in the early days before he becomes the J. Edgar Hoover is anarchism. So he's fighting homegrown terrorists here on the U.S. front, basically, because anarchists had just infiltrated the United States hard. But this is also because of World War I, where governments were failing. Because you got to think about this. Before World War I even kicks off, aristocracies are going down and governments are coming up. So a whole different version of how to deal with the people so much changes. So like you got different opinions. And so anarchism goes on the rise because they don't want to be ruled by an aristocracy anymore, which is kind of prevalent of how World War I gets finished, because by the end of World War I, there are no kings or queens really anymore in charge. It's all governments. And so anarchism goes on the rise very quickly. And because of J. Edgar Hoover witnessing this early on during the days of the Bureau of Investigation in D.C., where there are bombings in D.C. from anarchists, you see this kind of fervor for J. Edgar Hoover, which I think plays in later on in his career, going into the 60s and 70s, and he kind of just quells any opposition to his opinion, because he's like, I saw it firsthand. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to like the context of J. Edgar Hoover, I think it's really is this old man saw this and he's going to play it this way.
Right, but I think that's the. But what I'm saying is, at the beginning, with the Bureau of Investigation, when he took over in 1924, he was trying to improve on the corruption and everything that was already there.
Oh yeah, yes,
yeah. Power is a hell of a
so
thing.
basically, he started off as a good guy, shall we say? I don't want to say good guy, but he was trying to do the right thing.
He's a perfect example of the road to good intention.
Right.
He's a perfect example of that. And coming into the BOI and what America is dealing with at the time is a burgeoning depression, a full-on depression, economic failures from the top down, government's not acting fast enough. And when he comes in for the FBI, the main goal of the FBI is to be the cop of the land. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need cops that can go over state lines. We need law enforcement that doesn't have to deal with states' rights, only works on the Constitution, only works with one head instead of multiple heads, which in theory works great. You want the FBI to be the federal police force, okay? Because they need to be the law enforcement oversight over the lower tiers of law enforcement, right? That's what you kind of want. Like, if there's corrupt cops at the local level, you want them to be investigated by the FBI, not by their brothers and sisters in law enforcement, because that's just more corruption on top.
Wait, internal affairs doesn't work? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying sometimes cops investigating cops doesn't sound good.
Yeah, they're going to give their buddies a break. Even
but
if
then
they know they're
also,
wrong.
if there's corruption at the top level, who's going to investigate them too?
Another thing is, you're talking about corruption from the top down. This is also the time coming off the Gilded Age of politics. So, like, you're talking about the end of the grand old party. You're talking about Republicans going away from, states' rights into big government. Okay, you're talking about Democrats switching sides in the South. You're talking about just a top-down restructure of both parties that are dominant in the areas. Like in New York, like you had Republicans in New York and New Jersey, part of the Gilded Age, where it's a front. Okay, everything looks nice, but behind that front is rustiness, is nastiness, and that's where that corruption comes in. You're talking about, and you had this whole like group of guys in New York and New Jersey just kicking out presidents like one after the other during this time. This is where we get Taft. This is where we get McKinley. This is where we get Roosevelt. And if it wasn't for McKinley dying, the Gilded Age would have stayed up for another 20 years.
Yeah.
So if McKinley hadn't got shot by anarchists, by the way, Theodore Roosevelt wouldn't have the power to do what he did. He was just a long shot guy when he'd come up, and he ended up, putting his words up. He did what he said he was going to do. He was a trust buster, and then Taft came in. Like these guys changed the party, but changed the style of corruption. Okay, it was no longer, we're just going to get everybody to vote Republican. No. We're going to get everybody to be on the same page, no matter what party they vote for.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with that is you kind of have no sense of legiancy on how to do things. And I think that's probably why J. Edgar Hoover became like he was. He's a very loyal guy, but those loyalties break very quickly when trying to find a solution to a problem. And that problem is crime across the board, And you're coming off a country that just fought in a war on a foreign land.
Yeah. And coming out of a Great Depression on top of it.
Yeah. And then here's what's crazy is the whole world is in a depression at the time.
Yeah.
The whole world is coming into depression. Economically, there is nothing that's going to support these governments anymore other than a war. Because wars create a better economy.
It's a business. It definitely stimulates the economy.
But like when you get rid of all the people who fought who sent people to die in those wars, when all of them are gone and you just let governments do it, now it's a whole different game. Aristocracies, kings and queens and dukes and duchesses and all that, it was very simple. I've seen conscripts to fight a war for me on this designated battlefield. But guess what? Those soldiers became veterans of that war. And then they became generals of the next one. And they did not want to fight in trenches anymore. People like Eisenhower and Patton did not want to see guys die in trenches anymore. So you know what they did? They fought in cities.
Door to door.
This is something that people, so this is World War II to the fact that civilians are now targets. And it all became kind of a pretense because anarchists were taking shots at citizens. Anarchists knew that the only way to get the message out was through violence. And that was the only thing they understood. So when you hear these people of the early 1910s and 20s, after post World War I, blowing shit up, excuse my language on that, but just blowing stuff up, they're sending a message very clear. Now, I'll talk about it later about why J. Edgar Hoover does not believe in the mafia, but that's a later discussion.
Yeah.
But no, like he did fight corruption the best way he knew how.
Yeah, he didn't fight corruption for a long, long time.
Yeah. And the hardest thing about understanding J. Edgar Hoover, all the jokes aside about him being a crossdresser and all that, is at the end of the day, he's just a government official who took in too much power too quickly. And then, in his own way, corrupted the organization he led. Because the FBI became very corrupted during his time. When it became to the citizens of the United States that he was sworn to protect. So,
yeah, he was. Not want to go with the mob. He was untouchable himself, at least in his own eyes. He set himself up to be, like I said, you get that position, and I think just at some point that power was just probably a high that he was chasing that he could constantly keep. But like I said, you got to keep in mind too, though he did go through 8 presidents, so it's not accidental. He cultivated the image that he was indispensable, regardless of who's in office. He's gonna still be that person. He resisted oversight from the attorney generals and presidents alike. He positioned the FBI as an independent, almost untouchable, in its own branch of the government. So the only one that he was accountable to was himself.
But you got to remember, technology is coming out at a rapid pace at this time too, and he's one of the first ones that had the centralized finger-based data collection databases, I do believe.
I think that was like the 20s. It started to really take over.
So he created a kind of a card catalog system of criminals. Yeah. This is kind of goes into the earliest version of I forget what it's called, but it's kind of like a computer system now that we have, VICAP, which categorizes everyone who's been arrested, charged, and imprisoned. But what's funny is like they're still doing what's considered pseudoscience now. Like they're still using like eugenics kind of style, which is just an offshoot of phrenology, which is a very racist science. Yeah. But like they'd say like, oh, his skull is a certain shape, so he might be a criminal. So like that literally stuff like that, which is like morally reprehensible. But another thing he did along with fingerprints was kind of photographing the sides of the profile of the ear, because the ear is very unique. Eye, hair color, race, state of origin, all these things are now cataloged at the FBI. And so it's a great idea, and it was a very smart idea to, create a central hub of information that could be told to local law enforcement or FBI guys or G-men on the road. Hey, I need to know what kind of guys I'm looking for out here. Does this description of a perp match a guy we have on file in this area or from this area? And like you said, technology was fast for its time, and it only got faster.
Yeah, he definitely kept an intense filing system that they maintained. All his loyal deputies were in it. More towards, the higher profile people, where it was going to be, anything they had that they could use against it. So Americans across political, judicial, media, different things, he had files on everybody. He had any amount of blackmail you would need to keep himself where he was at. And that's where I think we're starting to get into is the blackmail and intimidation that he had. The first thing I want to really hop into is kind of what he was doing with, I know it jumps to the 60s, but I'm just dying to talk about it with the problems he had with Martin Luther King. Sending him, tell him to kill himself in letters that he would send. And this is a guy that you're trying to defend. I don't care how great of a guy you think he is. If he's sending letters or having somebody send letters on his behalf saying, I know what you're doing, just go ahead and kill yourself.
But is there proof that was actually him sending the letters?
If he didn't pin it, somebody was pinning it for him. But
kind of like Biden did when they auto-pinned everything that he signed?
But I'm pretty sure.
Is there definite proof that he's the one doing it? Or is it somebody that is against him, maybe his opponent, be like, hey, send these out here. We got to get rid of this guy.
I'm pretty sure it was coming. It was uncovered.
And don't get me wrong. I'm not defending him. I am just saying some of the stuff that he did, especially early in the career, as we talked about the cataloging, fingerprinting, and all that, and having education in the FBI is a good thing. Now, did he do some crazy stuff? Absolutely. I'm not going to defend him, and I'm not saying he's righteous. I'm just saying
he had good ideas, but I
think some of the stuff that he came out with and did gets overshadowed by the stuff later in life, like you're talking about with Martin Luther King and so on and so forth.
Well, here's the other thing, too, is he came in at a time when Henry Ford was trying to become president. And Henry Ford was a seriously corrupt man, and a seriously horrible.
Don't talk about my employer like that.
That is something we're going to cover at some point.
I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, you got to kind of go with the lesser evil sometimes. And I'm sorry, all politicians are evil. If you're a politician, fuck you. But it's one of those that I just get to the point where it's like you have to make decisions based on mass.
Now I'm going to throw this out here before we go into the 60s. Let's go back and talk about Dillinger, the era of the mafia, the gangs and all that. I think by his relentless pursuit and the FBI's relentless pursuit of them, it kind of changed things for him there. I think that's when he started going a little bit sideways.
Yeah.
Well,
Because you're having innocent people get hurt, you know,
Yeah.
with no repercussions. Now, I bring that up. Since I brought this up, so, you know, a lot of people are infatuated with John Dillinger. Okay, I know you are. Justin Remar is. Chris maybe. Okay, or even Babyface Nelson. I love Babyface Nelson. When you have criminals doing it, and you're like, oh, well, they didn't kill anybody. Well, they're still robbing. They're still breaking the law. Correct.
they're making the law. But
Okay, but they're breaking the law. They're making you look silly. But when I say J. Edgar Hoover, the whole
Oh, the
organization.
FBI was made to look horrible like this whole
Right.
time. There was so many botched things
Right.
that happened. Little
And-
Bohemia, like all kinds of things that happened that the FBI killed innocent people. They
Right.
couldn't get the job done. You know, Melvin Purvis's job's on, which ends up retiring a year or two later. I mean,
Right.
it's okay. You stole a car, so now we're going to come after you, and we're not going to capture you. We're going to kill you.
But
There wasn't no let's
but
take
how many
these guys in.
times had Dillinger broke the law up to that point? Why did he become public enemy number one?
Because you drove a stolen car over state lines.
Well, that too, yes.
That's the only reason. That was the only federal crime.
But I make that statement like that to say, okay, so he said we're going to take these guys out by any means necessary, killing them. Don't bring them dead or alive. We don't care, right? Basically.
No, it was to bring them in dead. I don't think there's
Right.
ever intention to bring
Okay.
them alive.
So here's my question to you. A few years ago, we caught Osama bin Laden, or found Osama bin Laden, I should say. So you're saying we should have extradited him back to the United States to go through due process, or do you kill him since we're in wartime? Is there any, quote, evidence that bin Laden actually killed anybody himself?
I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that we're not privy to see, but I mean, it's the same.
But do you see what I'm saying, though? Like, okay, so you have bin Laden, who's saying he may have killed people. Okay, I know that guy's a little bit crazy. But I'll even ask Chris. Chris, when it comes to hunting down public enemy number one, which became famous around, was it Dillinger? Was he the one that
It
actually
was the
started
first one.
it?
Yeah.
We talked about that, I think. When it comes down to like that, but, you know, the people loved him. The people, you know, especially the people like in Banks, we've all know the stories about how he didn't, hey, is this your money? We're not taking your money. We just want to take the bank's money, and so on and so forth. It made Dillinger look great in those people's eyes, the farmers, the people he came in contact with.
Yeah, it was Robin Hood.
And what does that make J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI look like? They look like fools. So when you start making people look like fools, that people in power, we can even go down the presidential thing. I don't want to, but I mean, both sides are both equally evil in my eyes, and they just need to redo the whole thing. When it comes down to something like that, by any means necessary, that they're going to take care of the problem, is that good or bad?
Well, America's very good at timing.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Very convenient.
The
Very
weapons
good.
of mass destruction.
But like, so I understand what you're saying. You do have running gun thugs out here killing people. Bonnie and Clyde killed people.
Right.
Yeah.
Killed innocent fucking people. And they got what they got. Okay. But it wasn't the FBI that did it. It was a guy named Frank Hamer who regretted doing it because Frank Hamer is a killer, and sometimes killer feels remorse. However, the problem I have with J. Edgar Hoover being this guy who says we need to, under the guise of the law and public safety, killing these men. Yeah, kill one or two. Yeah, you got to. You just got to sometimes, all right? I get that. Some people just ain't want to be caught. You know, Bonnie and Clyde weren't going to be caught.
No, absolutely
No,
not.
they were going
Got
down.
shot in the, you know, John Dillinger got shot in the back of the fucking head on the sidewalk. All right. He probably wasn't going in for one more time. Guess what? Because, you know, he didn't want to go to prison again. I get that. Now, is it right or wrong? At the time, it seemed right. But, you know, time says all. And eventually it says the right thing becomes the wrong thing. Did Osama bin Laden deserve to die? Sure. Why not? He was a combatant. That's what happens to combatants in a wartime. When you're talking about this era of gangsters, the line between law and justice is blurred.
Yeah.
Okay. It is not black and white. If something is the law, it does not mean that it is justified by any means. Not all the time. There are laws on the books that are, I consider, unjustifiable. but it is still the law. Now, when you're talking about John Dillinger being this Robin Hood kind of guy, yeah, he was kind of a Robin Hood kind of guy. And, he robbed banks because at that time, banks were stealing from the American people. They're committing one of the greatest crimes ever called usury. All right. Interest. Okay. Interest on nothing.
Yep.
All right. And what I find fascinating is they lump these guys together, right? I can't really lump Bonnie and Clyde with John Dillinger.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally different.
I can't put Pretty Boy Floyd on the same level as a rampaging maniac like Babyface Nelson. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys are of different mindsets to how they do it. And because of the way they were committing crimes, going over states' lines, robbing banks and stuff like that, they put a target on their back, not just from the FBI, but from the mafia. All right. Because you remember, at the time of this, wire fraud was being committed by the mafia, gambling, racketeering, all these crimes were being committed by the mafia, and they were getting away with it because there is no interstate crime force. There's no interstate laws in place to stop it. Okay. Because post-Civil War, every state became their own little fiefdom, and they still are. Okay. Texas has different laws than North Carolina. Indiana has different laws than us. So they create these little fiefdoms, and now you have a police force that has to navigate through all of that. And I can only imagine how frustrating that would be to send an FBI agent from Quantico, right, from D.C., all the way to like Indiana, and have to listen to cops being like, oh, no, we don't really give a shit about him robbing this bank because the bank fucked everyone in this town. But the FBI's guy's like, I still got to catch the son of a bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Well, because J. Edgar's breathing down his neck, say, hey, catch this guy by any means necessary, because he has to report back to J. Edgar Hoover as, why isn't he caught yet? Or why isn't he dead?
Mm-hmm.
I think going back to the disingenuous part is J. Edgar Hoover saying he's a lawman.
Yeah.
No, he is a glorified bureaucrat at best.
He's kind of like a sheriff. You don't have to be a cop. You just get elected.
Yeah. But like, did he do a good job running an organization? Kind of. He did the job. Okay. He did the mandate of the job. It was just investigate crimes over state lines and get results. Now, he killed people, but it got results, didn't it? So it kind of like, I don't agree with all of it, but some of those people deserve to get got.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not for the death penalty 100%, but if you get a monster on the leash, man, you put it down.
Yeah.
Every time. Okay. Now, if you're just like suspecting them of committing crime, put them in trial. Gets a jury of his peers, and follow the justice system. But to go out and execute and it obstruct all three branches of government while doing it is reprehensible. Okay. But some of those people kind of deserve to get shot. Okay, I'm for that. And same thing when you see crime going on the streets now. If you see somebody outside wielding a gun, popping people, and the cops roll up and shoot them, that's kind of justified.
You brought it on yourself.
Because clear and present danger.
Oh no, but he was a good kid. He would never do anything like that, right? That's what they always say. That's what they say.
Know. You never
right?
know.
That's why.
I've always heard they love learning and shit. They're going to be doctors and such, And like this, what? You go to conspiracy real quick. I think crime is like it is right now because they got rid of the show Cops.
I don't disagree with you.
I agree. Yeah.
What was the other one?
We have Live PD down in Southern Indiana.
We used to have it. I don't know if we have it anymore.
Live PD is the bastard child of the cops, and it doesn't do what its job is supposed to do. Cops, no matter who you are, man or woman, black or white, whatever you are on the spectrum, we could all agree while watching Cops, that motherfucker has heroin on him and he's getting arrested. Or this
and he doesn't have a shirt on.
It's sweaty profusely.
It's like we all could watch this together on a couch and bring this country together and watch some guy from Miami-Dade.
And they went all over the place. It wasn't the same place every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it was, if you ever caught a good one, it was Greensboro, North Carolina.
I lived
That
in
was where the
Greensboro.
hits were. Oh,
Yeah.
Greensboro is fascinating.
It is its own place.
It's the last bastion of the Klan. It was where Jefferson Davis held his last stand before he got, the leader of the Confederacy. It's where those Klansmen shot all those communists in the 70s. It's a fascinating place. But but whenever they go there, it was always two things: domestic violence,
Yeah.
or crack.
Yeah. It still is.
It didn't matter what race, color, religion, sexual orientation. You
We all
laughed.
agree.
The lady who called the cops because somebody sold her plaster and not cocaine.
Yes.
We can all laugh at that as one community.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they got rid of that. And I think it's a conspiracy to divide this nation. That's what
No,
it
that is true.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did Lincoln say? A house divided, can't
Cannot
stand.
stand.
Shall
Yeah.
not stand.
They're going to keep us divided. And I'm going to hop into a little bit of a tangent here.
No.
What do you think when Trump was going on about making a big deal about the Gulf of America? There was a reason for that. They're doing other shady shit, but your
Yeah.
attention is on something stupid.
You ever heard of a 3-ring circus? Look over here. You never see what's going on behind the curtain.
It's just, it's always been that way. And it's just now we have it at our fingertips.
Well, it's like you brought up y'all brought up Osama bin Laden. He was killed in May, which is the beginning of the end of the second quarter of that year, where it was really the first time where the Pentagon was being investigated at that time. So they really needed a win.
Yeah.
So killing Osama bin Laden at that time was a great win for the Pentagon to kind of divert the whole idea of them being audited by the Treasury Department, which, the Pentagon's always on the up and up on how much money they spend. But yeah, that's a conspiratorial point, that why was Osama bin Laden killed at the later dates is probably to hide the fact that the Pentagon had lost a bunch of money. And it's not the first time the Pentagon's lost a bunch of money. There was a guy named Ollie North back in the 80s who took gold from Iran for F-16s, and somehow that gold turned into crack cocaine or may not turned into guns for Nicaragua. Like, we don't know.
Hey, Chris.
I'm not a historian.
How old are you?
I'm 36,
Okay.
but I feel 100.
Well, I'm 40. I'm 48. I remember the Ollie North thing pretty well. So
Ollie North's gold, and where did all that fucking money go, Ollie?
Yeah.
Huh?
yeah.
Because I know you're on Fox News right now talking a lot of shit about corruption, but somehow a shit ton of Iranian gold disappeared, motherfucker.
It's probably in Fort Knox.
Yeah. Keep telling
There's
yourself
nothing
that.
in Fort Knox.
I know there's not.
There's nothing in Fort Knox. There's nothing except probably the body of the guy who killed Kennedy. Probably.
That would be interesting.
That's another topic there, but that's
That would be very
it's
interesting.
not
But
J. Edgar
like,
Hoover.
But, going back to the whole gangster thing, I know we've showed off, and I've had my whole tangent about cops.
Hey, that's what we got you on here for.
But, like, you have exigent circumstance to kill these people, and he took it upon himself. Now, John Dillinger, in hindsight, that was a mistake. Pretty Boy Floyd, he was on the run, and Melvin Purvis shot him in an orchard. Okay? He wasn't stopping. He was shooting back at him. Okay?
Yeah.
So, on that stance, yeah, Pretty Boy Floyd probably deserved to get shot in a fucking orchard. Bonnie and Clyde deserved every fucking round they got.
Yeah.
All right? I know it's fucked up, but they weren't going to surrender. We know this.
No.
Nope, he was fixing to leave her ass behind. That's the sad part.
Well,
They're made to be this
you get a
couple,
chance. If you get a chance, read Frank Hamer's story about killing them. It haunted him till the day he died.
Oh, it's
because
such
the
an
folks shot-
overkill. It's insane.
Well, like, during the shootout, which isn't even a shootout, it's a massacre, one guy gets one shot off before everybody else, and it kills Clyde Barrow immediately. And Bonnie screams, and then the bullets come flying again. He said he could not get that scream out of his head forever. Like, his wife even talked about it. It haunted him forever. But my problem is, you get someone like J. Edgar Hoover who pretends to be this lawman, who's never been in the field to do lawman shit, and then lie to the American people about how he arrested Ma Barker, or he was there to put the Barker clan down. No, you fucking weren't, dude.
I tell
It
you
was
what, the
guys on
Barker
ground.
clan is something else. They're terrifying.
The Barker clan are awful.
Oh, and every one of them is sick. And just, yeah.
But
There's
like
something else.
to say like he's the one that did it. It's like, no, you weren't. All right. Talk about the guys who were there in the field and let's hear their point of view.
Yeah. Not your,
And,
you're going to be here just to put on some handcuffs from time to time to make you look like you did something.
yeah. And that's so disingenuous. It's no different than what's going on now with some politicians posturing or some leaders of certain alphabet squads that's posture, you know what I'm saying? When they're talking about arresting people, it's like, oh no, we're in the field. It's like, no, you're not. You're in an SUV on your iPhone. Okay. You're not doing shit.
And a lot of this stuff you see is tips. Like it's not even the FBI doing it. They're getting tips from other places and they're just following up on the tips and not doing the research.
Yeah.
Kind of like ChatGPT.
GPT.
We use it for outlines. We don't shame.
We kind of live in this world now where we can kind of separate ourselves from all the information and make our own decisions. But back in the day, it was just one newspaper printed out the story of, hey, in Indiana, Indiana Bank and Savings and Loan got robbed. And like you get a farmer who's reading that while he's taking supplies into town, he's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they just took my farm.
Be on my farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. But you get somebody whose kid was killed by Bonnie and Clyde, you're like, yeah, kill all of them.
Yeah.
Kill every fucking one of them.
And I think that's part of the problem. Even today, you can get a Washington Post and you can get the Gazette in Arizona or wherever, or Chicago Times or whatever, or New York Times, and it's the same picture, but it's two different stories of two different versions of the happenings. I think they purposely keep us divided.
Well, you do.
Because
you have to cross-reference the news to figure out what's actually going to be fact and what's fiction.
Yeah, but which news do you listen to? CNN, Fox.
I don't have enough. There's not enough time in the day to cross-reference the information to figure it out. Maybe we should use Edgar Hoover's filing system to figure it out.
Or ChatGPT might have a better answer.
I always advise people who want to get into news, never watch a network.
Mm-hmm.
Go onto the Associated Press website, and whatever they post is the news. You know why? Because all they post is what they see and nothing else. There's no opinion. There's no rhetoric. It is bank robbed in Georgia. The end. And then CNN, Fox News picks it up, and it's like, okay, now let's get the ball rolling. But the Associated Press is the foundation. That's the only news I get it from, because it's the only one that's on the up and up, because it's always video footage. It's always a person on the ground. And it's just facts that they're given at that moment. Okay. When Deepwater Horizon was happening, Associated Press broke it first. And then everyone else chimed in later on, even though the AP was just like, hey, there's a giant fire in the Gulf, guys. And everybody's like, okay, whatever. And then realize, oh, fuck, it's something bigger. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to go by news cycle, this AP is probably the only one I would recommend, just because it's just spitting out statements of fact. But even with that, it's not a lot of information, but it's a baseline for information. Like there used to be this great meme online. It was Obama drinking out of a Pepsi cup, and Fox News is like Obama hates Coke. CNN is Obama endorses PepsiCo. All this, and then it's like MSNBC, and it's like 14 killed in Riyadh. It's like no one gives a shit unless it's an opinionated source, and it's like that's the problem.
Yeah, it's all definitely. I mean, like I said, you get one story and it's completely different down the chain. It's not even close. Huh?
And J. Edgar Hoover, one of his biggest problems was dealing with the media, because back then you had like stuff like the Fairness Doctrine, and you had going into the 60s people like Cronkite who would tell people the news, and he'd always end it, and that's the way it was. Very, very stern, but very not opinionated about the news. Hey guys, this is what happened.
Yeah.
Have a good one. There's only a handful of newscasters I've actually seen in my lifetime, and they've all gone to shit. One guy on Fox News was Brett Baer. Brett Baer used to just tell the news and shut the fuck up. Scott Pelley from CBS used to do the same thing, but now he's gone. But like, there used to be these guys who would tell the news the way it was, and they're just gone.
Well, nobody wants to believe that anymore.
Yeah, everybody wants this vacuum chamber of their own bullshit. And I think that's kind of a great thing about J. Edgar Hoover was he was that vacuum of bullshit that he keep wanting to hear, and going into like whether or not he may or may not have sent letters to, Martin Luther King. He did have horrible run-ins and open spats with civil rights leaders before even Martin Luther King came on the scene. So in the early 50s, you had the early civil rights movement, and he was getting a lot of hail for not sending FBI agents down during the murder of Emmett Till. So, and he went toe to toe against the civil rights groups at those times, and it's kind of a blemish for him. I think there was a guy named T. Howard. He was a civil rights leader out of Mississippi who he investigated thoroughly and was trying to put away because you got to remember, CONTELAPRO is still going on, which is a whole different fucking subject. But because the FBI's failure to go after the people that killed Emmett Till in the black community, their trust for the law goes out the window.
Do you two know who Emmett Till is?
I do, because I listened to Chris talk about this before, but I've not got no sleep,
Jackie,
and my brain's a little slow.
It was a little African American boy. I think he was he like 8 to 12 or somewhere in there?
Emmett Till was a young African American from Chicago who went down to the South to visit his cousins. And during an argument on the street, a white woman said he whistled at him.
I do know this story.
And come to find out that was a lie.
It was a
years
lie.
later.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, on her deathbed, she told everybody that she fucking lied. Even though that should not have been a reason to lynch a boy.
Yeah.
Right.
But his mother ended up posting the photo of his open casket, which kicked the civil rights kind of anti-lynching act or anti-lynching all the way up.
Yeah.
But, in the South, that's another thing. You get two different opinions on the same thing. In the deep South, in Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, it's not going to be the same as in Indiana.
Yeah.
But there are places in Indiana that might as well be in Mississippi, places like South Bend.
Well, I think Elwood's got past that somewhat, but yeah, there's a few.
But it's still pretty rough. Yeah.
Which is funny you bring up Mississippi
Martinsville.
because I don't know if you keep up with Barstool Sports and like Dave Portnoy. He was down in Mississippi and down in Starkville and had a guy come after him for being Jewish. I mean, it's still down there. And I was in Louisiana 2-3 weeks ago, and there was signs, for like Jewish people, it's like it's safe to go to this hospital and billboards because there's still a lot of tension that you would think 2025 that's gone, but no, it's ramping back up.
No. You're dealing with people who are entrenched from generations of being just hateful assholes. North Carolina is no exception. North Carolina, though, is very different than opposed to our counterpart in South Carolina, which is very old South.
Yeah.
On not even just like in policy, but on economic policy as well. So there are still laws on the books that have never been erased. Drop of blood rules, which is whether or not people can get mortgages as people who are occupied maroon for whatever stupid word racists have come up with.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like it's very fascinating that those demographics exist. We still have sundown towns in different parts of the South. Southern Georgia, Texas.
Elwood was a sundown town until
I found a book of a lot of places in Indiana that was sundown towns, and I'm like, thought we were pretty neutral up here.
Yeah, there's a sundown town registry online you can look up.
Yeah,
where they are at.
Yep, I looked at that and it was amazing.
There's a fantastic story too. It's called "The Cadaver King and the Country Dentist," and it talks about all of the civil rights movements and things like that. But it starts with, like you were saying, the lynchings and basically a lot of people that were being hunted down and just how corrupt the jail systems were as well, and how overrun they were by mobs and things like that over a lot of this. But it's interesting. It goes into quite a bit of history of sundown towns throughout the United States, but primarily in the Deep South, and a lot of the things that they went through and are still continuing to go through that you would not imagine is a real thing right now.
And it's funny, you go to certain places that, like Atlanta is a place that I feel like for the most part, it's a cultural melting pot. Like you see a lot of different people getting along, but I'm sure you take that 3-4 blocks in different directions, it's totally different. Mm-hmm. Being in downtown or this area versus in this neighborhood, it changes. But, there's some places that you see and it's like, surprisingly, it's different in places than you would expect, but they're also going to be towns full of transplants and not people that's lived there for 4, 5, 6 generations.
Yeah.
But it's sad that it's still a thing. But
it's also like some other cultural things that are sticking around for a very long time. You can kind of go to like festivals in certain areas. Like what's a popular like Indiana festival y'all guys have in your town?
We have like covered bridge festivals. There's a hot dog festival down the road from us. Apple popcorn, strawberry festivals.
Yeah.
Nothing
so
like really cool.
Yeah, but those are rural festivals based on what's there. Like here we have apple festivals and we have Cheerwine Festival. So like we have those things based on what we have.
You need to make a road trip to the Cheerwine Festival.
I want pickles and cheerwine. Mm-hmm.
But like where the Cheerwine Festival is here in North Carolina is in Salisbury, North Carolina, which also has a giant statue of a Confederate man.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to go to Salisbury Steak Festival, and I said, I'm in.
Salisbury Steak? Oh, man. Just a long line of frozen food trucks.
TV trays. Yeah.
TV trays as far as the eyes can see.
TV dinners.
Everyone get your banquet dinners.
And get your tongue scalded by but still frozen in the middle.
Yeah. Never quite right.
Tell you what, though, if you're going to talk about Salisbury steak.
Hot gravy got me everything.
I
got done in at the Salisbury Steak Festival, hot gravy.
Yeah.
I hope they got the Hungry Man because they got, it's the Boston Market has pretty good Salisbury steak.
Hungry Man.
Sandusky, Ohio does Tommy Days, and I'm dying to get over there. I was like, I want to go to Tommy Fest.
But yeah, it's like I said, it's different regions, different things.
What's fascinating is in the Deep South, there wasn't a lot of run and gun outlaws who were doing the same thing as John Dillinger and all them. Main reason for that is banks in the East Coast were kind of fortified by the cities, and your more rural banks were more savings and loans, so they didn't keep a lot of cash on hand, and they were kind of beholden to a different kind of policy, especially Charlotte area. Didn't see a large rise in bank robberies until like the 80s during the time of the Bank of America robberies, which was like, I think they said that Bank of America was being robbed every 20 minutes in the United States.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
From like 1985 to 1995, like a Bank of America was being robbed every 20 minutes.
I still find it fascinating that when you see like the security cameras from a bank, it's all grainy and you can't even tell who it is.
Yeah, it's like this is not part of the safety, guys. This is, like you're not keeping nobody safe with the shitty cams.
Security's not a real thing. No. But yeah, and like I said, you got that more rural, you know what I mean? But like I said, a lot of these, and it was easier to corrupt because at the point we're going to talk a little bit, the bank robberies in the Midwest, a lot of the bank managers were in on it. Either they, hey, split it with me, you can rob it, we'll get the insurance money. Or they completely staged it.
What was the city in Indiana? Was it LaPorte that they refused to rob banks there because of the amount of train tracks?
Supposedly it was Muncie, my hometown.
Was it Muncie?
There's too many train tracks.
So, yeah.
And Dillinger would lay low in Muncie. And I didn't see it, but my aunt dated a girl whose great-grandfather was like the sheriff or the chief of police in Muncie and says that he would come over for dinner. They had pictures with him. Because, you're paying these people off to lay low.
Yeah.
So, the corruption, and you have to have somebody like Hoover that's overseeing everything because all these small towns, a whole town or state's police departments can be manipulated with money. because you're
Do you know
starving.
anything- Do you know anything about the St. Paul, Minneapolis scam during this time?
No.
You'd have to refresh me, but I probably do.
So, Twin Cities, Minneapolis, and St. Paul. The mayor of St. Paul made a deal to anybody who, and it was like a worldwide deal. If you come to St. Paul, do not rob St. Paul. But if you want to rob everyone outside of St. Paul, we're not going to chase you. So people would go to Minneapolis. They would go to Minneapolis banks, rob them, go across the river to St. Paul, and just hang out.
Yeah.
And St. Paul didn't have crime like that.
It was a safe
And the number
haven.
one rule was, but there was it was like an agreement between everybody that do not come to St. Paul with your bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a safe spot for everybody, kind of like a sanctuary city for bank robbers, but Minneapolis is getting robbed all the time. and it was a great scam that ran pretty well until they all got killed.
And I find it, fascinating that they could, Dillinger could go sneak up in Chicago and lay low in a huge city, rub elbows with police looking for him and get away with it.
He
But
had the mob on his side.
yeah, but when you have the underworld on your side, a lot of stuff gets paid off.
Yeah. But once the FBI kind of expanded their purview into interstate crime, that's when the mob was like, nah, we're not going to help hide you no more. No more safe houses, no more guns, no more caches. No, you're on your own, guys. And Dillinger, kind of saw the writing on the wall, because with the FBI going after them, they can now go after the mob, and the mob got scared. If the mob had only known that J. Edgar Hoover just blatantly said later on, like, the mob's not real, they would have been like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
they wouldn't have cared.
And who would have known if you'd actually took a little bit of effort to go after the mob, but you struggled through this whole time. You don't want another big, epidemic going on where you have to go put yourself back out there, because there was no way the FBI in 1935, 36 could take on the mafia and get away with it. Like I said, I just don't think the numbers would be in their favor.
Well, the problem with the mob were they were very structurally sound at the time.
They had rules and
you
ethics.
Had families. Yeah, like they had families, that were running from New York to New Jersey, and then Chicago to other parts of Illinois, down to Kansas City. They flourished because you got to remember the Italian mob. Just talking about the Italian mob, were so family oriented that if you weren't part of the family, you weren't part of the group at all. Outsiders were only in halfway and never full.
Yeah.
Never full. Meyer Lansky was a perfect example of this. The first original gangster, Honor Rothstein, was the first one. Yeah. The guy who helped bring the series. But Honor Rothstein knew very quickly how to talk to these people, how to talk to these other families, to where we're all making money, guys.
Yep.
And this is how we're all going to make the money. But after he gets caught, everything just goes to shit. Once a big guy like that gets caught, it's over.
Yeah, it's
same with Meyer Lansky, who fled. It's kind of like, it's greatly portrayed in Godfather 2, where he's talking to Al Pacino in Cuba during the revolution, and it's just like, yeah, this is where the mob's going to lose a lot of shit in Cuba.
Yeah, definitely a struggle for power. So
yeah, you got these power vacuums that form, but also when it comes to the law in North America on certain things, is it justified, or is it just to oppress a set of people?
Yeah.
That goes into marijuana, that goes into home ownership, stuff like that. Marriage licenses, even the original reason for marriage licenses was a very racist reason for them to exist. So with someone like J. Edgar Hoover, who's watching all this, I know we're going on tangents, but J. Edgar Hoover is witnessing this firsthand as America changes, and he's the leader of the most powerful group in the United States, technically. So his decisions are paramount.
Yeah, he was definitely larger than life when it come to that, and even one of his most loyal people. I mean, with Melvin Purvis, I mean, he didn't want to keep anybody too close to him either. I mean, I don't know if that's because we talked about the cross dressing stuff. If somebody found out and it got out, it would destroy him. So I think that's another big thing that he had to really watch how close his circle was.
Yeah, like the only person he ever had was a guy named Clyde Tolson, who was the associate director of the FBI. History would say they are best friends.
Yeah, he's my roommate.
Who we occasionally live together. I just love that stuff about history. You see two women in like a photo. It's just like, oh, these were roommates who were best friends and lived together till the ripe old age of 80 and 90. It's like, no, they were lesbians. It's fine, guys. It's
never married, never had kids.
Spinsters.
And it goes back into Hollywood when you're talking about that. I know kind of one of the little niche things, Marjorie Main, the actress, I mean, pretty much gay her whole life, but had to put on a front. And
the lavender marriages throughout Hollywood were crazy. Yeah.
And if somebody did something wrong and somebody named Edgar Hoover got that information, he was going to use it to his advantage.
Yep.
He was going to blackmail and extort anybody.
The term lavender is hilarious because it came about because of you ever heard of the Maltese Falcon?
Yes.
All right, movie.
So one of the villains in the stories of the Maltese Falcon is the Lavender Man.
Yep.
It was a homosexual dude. That's it. He didn't do anything else. He was just a gay dude that would just go against Maltese Falcon. And it became the synonymous word in Hollywood that lavender just meant, oh yeah, he's gay.
Well, Andrea Lansbury is the reason we use the word gaslighting today, because the movie that she was in, Gaslight, was all about being manipulated by this person to believe different things. And to this day, it is gaslighting. So thank you, Angela.
But also, wasn't J. Edgar Hoover...
I have a theory about Angela Lansbury.
Oh, yes.
In her show.
Which one?
She killed all those people.
I would not put it past her. That little jog.
Murder, She Wrote are confessions where she murders.
It's her books.
I've heard similar to Bob Ross. All of his paintings are where bodies are.
Yeah.
But back to J. Edgar, didn't he put the forefront saying that, hey, the FBI is going to be the first line of defense in espionage and spying on the Soviets and stuff like that as well?
Yeah, so he ran into a problem around 1946 because he saw the writing on the wall very quickly after this whole public enemy bullshit. All right, communism is on the rise, not only in Russia but in the Eastern Bloc countries. They've kind of adopted it. We worry about it in South America even early on. But then comes the Dulles brothers, Alvin Dulles, who created the CIA. And if you want to talk about one scary person in DC, it's Alvin Dulles. J. Edgar Hoover did not trust the CIA, and he shouldn't have, because you can't trust the CIA. But Alvin Dulles would have killed him if he said anything outside his line. You know what I'm saying? These people that run the CIA back up what they say when they're telling you don't do something. The FBI can threaten, use the law, and wear badges. CIA don't wear fucking badges. Okay, they don't give a shit. Okay, a great example of the FBI and CIA colliding is a book called Chaos, which is the story of the Manson family and a couple other things. It's a great book, but there is a part in there where they talk about the CIA clashing with the FBI over communism. CIA has a very direct approach when it came to fighting communism. Hey, we're going to establish dictators, we're going to establish governments, and this is how we're going to fight communism abroad. The CIA does not have a directive to do any work inside the United States, but they didn't trust the FBI to stop communism in the United States because they felt like J. Edgar Hoover was weak on that front because he didn't share information. That's all. And the CIA is all about information.
Yeah.
The It is the Central Intelligence, agency. They need intelligence. And when another group of the Alphabet Squad ain't telling you everything you need to know, things are
The
going to fail.
Alphabet Squad. I haven't heard them called that before.
Oh, that's what we call them down here.
I like
DEAATF.
that. Yeah.
All the Alphabet Squad. Yeah, that's what we all call them.
That's good.
But you could kind of throw that up to like conspiracy, but it is what it is.
Exactly.
But the CIA takes just a different approach to fighting communism than J. Edgar Hoover did, because you got to remember, like I said, J. Edgar Hoover was dealing with anarchists in his early life, so that's a whole different grab bag.
And he wasn't big on going undercover, so that's another thing. You can't infiltrate and get a lot of information because they're not going to do that. They weren't doing the dirty work.
So what I think is fascinating is the purview of the FBI changes when he dies to the best interest of the government at the time. That's the purview of the FBI to advance the government of the time. Whether it's George Bush, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Reagan, Bush Sr., don't matter. That's their purview. But before that, it was J. Edgar Hoover. Just him.
Yep, just him.
Whatever he thought was best. What did he think was best? No more civil rights leaders. Nope, got to go. Inclusion, a boot on the throat of social order, integration, gone. That needs to go. Those are all parts of what they deemed were communist rhetoric. And, that's what communists were saying back home. Oh, America's not free. Look what they do to their black citizens. Look what they do to their Hispanic citizens. Look what they do to the Italians early on. Like, that was kind of a red, a black eye on the United States, and inclusion, desegregation, fiscal responsibility through other communities were seen as pathways to red communists. That's it. Because he saw Martin Luther King as a communist.
Absolutely. So,
and, go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Well, it's like, I grew up hearing like, oh, this is some commie bullshit. I'm just like, is it? Is it? I don't know how old all you guys are, but like, I grew up during the Bush years in high school, in middle school. Like, we heard what was, oh, these are terrorist thoughts. This is rhetoric about, these pesky Muslims and all this. And I'm like, this is just Red Scare bullshit. This is all it is. It's the same thing. It's just a different person.
You'd have to have a new topic for every generation,
Yeah. My favorite thing is Ravs, Russians, Arabs, and villains. Like, is always a rotation of that for the United States.
I think we're in that Russian spot now, so.
We're both. That's what's insane.
History repeats itself. Huh?
What a time to be alive.
So we were talking about King and the civil rights. So I'm going to hop on to what Jimbo, because I had a whole different way I thought we were going to go on this. So it was definitely a learning experience to have you and how we're going to structure things in the future. But
we can have a part 2, a part 3, a part 5.
Oh, if you listen to the Cryptid Conspiracy Cult or History Forgot, we were promised a lot of multi-parts that we didn't get.
I do believe the one I listened to, he said that on episode 113. I don't think they made it that far. I think it was was it the alphabet cryptids, and we're still in Alabama? I think it was.
So that was a whole episode of just me and Mikey drinking Crown, and like, man, this crowd's really smooth. What was that thing in Alabama again? The ghost bitch or some shit?
The sugar burger or something.
Booger sugar.
Yeah. Man, we just got shit faced.
And that's what it was just you guys having a good time and
we had just, like, around that same time, we had just did like a video game episode where me and Mikey were playing Street Fighter 2. It was hilarious.
So speaking of video games, somebody at this table thinks that they're going to be a badass at Mario, and I was like, I will put a team of my wife, Chris Morrison, and Alex Stiff together, and they will probably beat anybody that wants to challenge.
If it comes to the Super Mario World for the SCDS, I'll go toe to toe with anybody.
I would put any amount of money on Chris Morrison's side. Granted, I am a member of the cult of Morrison, and I will do whatever he says.
All right, guys, here we're going to pull back the curtain. Chris, just last night, Dustin was playing Fortnite with me.
When you're like a level 5,000, I'm a level 18. It's a little rough.
He is shooting our helper we hired. He's like, oh, I got him. I was like, you idiot. That's the guy that we hired to help us.
That's why I said.
So if I'm going to get stuck in, I will take that bet all day long.
That's why I said my team of my wife, Chris Morrison, and Alex Stiff. I didn't mention myself.
You said
I'm
you're
just the captain. I'm just the J. Edgar Hoover of this corrupt situation, and I'm going to make sure we win.
In your dress?
Hey, man. If
Call you Colonel Klinger.
yeah, it's
now look at me. He's like, you guys derailed me.
well, they want to talk smack, but I will put together a team and be the Bobby Knight of that team. I'll throw a chair, do whatever I got to do. Like,
don't make me get my son because he'll probably hack it where he can just fly through it with one stroke.
I don't think you can hack a.
Don't put it past him,
Nintendo.
Man. Don't put it past him.
I watched this guy go through he's like, I'm just going to get through as fast as I can.
Oh, the Mario original.
Oh,
you see
dude,
that?
It kills it.
It's like 4 minutes or something. I was like, what in the world?
So
yeah, Super Mario World is a game I kind of just blow through. Yeah, it's probably the perfect game for me. That and Legend of Zelda.
The original?
Yep, the original and Link to the Past. I was with Mikey Black. We were in West Virginia. We were hanging out at a good friend of ours' house. He puts it on the Switch, and he asked me, he's like, hey, man, how fast can you beat Link to the Past? I'm like, I've never timed myself. Within the first hour and a half, I had the 3 pendants, the Master Sword. I was getting the first crystal, and he woke up and he's like, "Man, how far did you get?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just kind of got bored and tired because I played this game a million times." But nah, I'm at the 3 hour mark, and I got most of everything.
I said, I don't think my wife had friends. I told you that. Her friend was Nintendo.
Her
I'm telling
friend
you.
was Yoshi.
Speaking of Legend, Link to Legend of Zelda, I bought the original copy of the NES. The gold cartridge.
I think I still have mine.
Yeah.
And if I know Chris, he probably got it in the box.
I still have my
manual.
Atari 2600 too. I still bust out every once in a while.
Oh, you'll play some ET?
Oh, dude, I still have it. It's not buried.
Yeah.
My copy is not buried in Arizona. No. And that game was so stupid. It might be the worst video game of all time, but I loved ET.
Yeah, so I collect, one of the video games I collect are movie-based video games.
Yeah.
And so, I have all the RoboCops, all the Ghostbuster games.
Did you like that new RoboCop that just came out, the video game?
Dude, that was awesome.
Yes,
I'm
it
a huge
was.
RoboCop fan. The music in the background, the sound of guns going off, it just felt like an 80s, just the movie.
Actually, yeah, it's perfect.
I would say it sounds like, in Chris Morrison terms, it's metal.
It's metal as fuck. Yeah.
So
dude, that fucking soundtrack of RoboCop playing around, dun, 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 and it's just like,
and the targeting system's like,
yeah, and it's loud as shit. Did you notice how loud the gunshots are? Dead or alive, motherfucker.
So
that's a great transition into the FBI. Dead or alive, motherfucker.
We should have J. Edgar Hoover video game, Dead or Alive. He just walks around in a dress with a gun.
No. He doesn't do nothing. He just has everybody else do
it. You gotta earn
it.
the skins. You gotta earn the different skins.
Yeah. Pink dress, blue dress, purple dress, red dress.
Yep. Dress with blood on it.
So we're talking about that infamous suicide letter. It was anonymous. It was believed to be written by FBI Director William C. Sullivan on Hoover's orders. So basically what this letter said, King, look into your heart. You know you're a complete fraud and a great liability to all of us Negroes. You are a colossal fraud and a moral imbecile. I've never looked at that word type. Sorry. I just use it. King, there is only one thing left for you to do, and you know what it is. You have just 34 days in which to do it. You better take it before your filthy, abnormal, fraudulent self is barred to the nation. This unprecedented act was a direct attempt by the federal agency to psychologically destroy prominent African American citizens. So you're trying to, you're like, I'm going to defend. He's, going in here.
First thing you said was what? Anonymous?
It was anonymous, but they know who it was. Like I said, they had issues. I'm pretty sure I'd have to go back and look because I didn't get as prepared as I should have because Chris brings it. But I'm pretty sure that they were like, yes, it was done by Hoover. Like it's been unofficially confirmed.
The only evidence right now that it's standing that the FBI wrote that letter was they have a copy of that letter with their stationery. I do find it fascinating that they tried to bully this man into killing himself. It just reminds me of just like some shit I'd see on the news about some 14-year-old girl bullying another girl. Like
on Facebook or something.
Instagram, TikTok bullshit.
Yeah.
Like it just reminds me like, oh my God, this is the same tactics tweens use. But like later on, when you're talking about the death of Martin Luther King, the government acknowledges that there was a conspiracy to kill Martin Luther King.
Yeah, that just came out in some letters recently too.
But like this goes into like other people too that the FBI have done this to. I'm trying to remember the author's name. I think it was Ernest Hemingway. They did the same thing. They tapped his phone. He was being followed, and he eventually kills himself. And then later on, they find out, oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, they were following him. They were fucking with him, calling his house and shit, and hanging up. Like they were bullying people into committing suicide. And like it's not like it's not a true thing that can be done. It's a way of killing people.
Yep.
It's a tactic.
Yeah.
It's a bullying tactic to kill someone. And I think it's sort of the weirdest ways, if you're an all powerful agency with all this money, all this, power, you thought that the best idea was for him to kill himself?
Yeah.
But back to the point is there is no direct proof that Edgar Hoover is the one that said this and that.
But you also have RFK later expressed deep regret for having authorized initial wiretaps, recognizing that Hoover had manipulated his trust and used the weaponized FBI powers for a vicious personal vendetta against Martin Luther King. Like, there's a paper trail that the FBI was getting into. But that doesn't mean
he's the one that sent the one that says, "Oh, kill yourself." Is all I'm saying. Was he scummy with the civil rights movement? Absolutely, I'm not denying that.
I would concur that there is no, direct evidence that J. Edgar Hoover
himself was part of it.
Tried to bully MLK into killing himself. But I also want to say, I doubt he really gave a shit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It does, at the end of the day, if it's moving his agenda, let's say, then he's not going to stand up and say, "Well, that wasn't us" or "That wasn't me." You know what I mean?
So, like this is kind of like where I have a problem with conspiracy theorists. There's so much evidence of something happening that you don't need to add anything else to make it sound outlandish.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does the FBI wiretap citizens? Yes. Is it an alien group of reptilians doing it? No. You know what I'm saying?
It's a cell phone in your pocket.
Don't add shit to the fucking story to make it juicier when the truth is just enough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like it goes into like different conspiracies. Like 9/11 is one of my favorite ones.
Oh yeah,
the two. Hey, is George Bush such an imbecile that the government from the top down failed to let hijackers kill American citizens, or did Dick Cheney do it all? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't have both.
R.I.P. Dick Cheney. He just died this week.
Oh, man. Hell gained another angel, didn't he?
I said, was it a hunting accident? Because you remember that whole thing where...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Satan's down there apologizing right now to him.
Yeah. And it's one of those...
Sorry to bring you here, buddy.
We're going to save, I think, the JFK stuff for another day because that's a whole giant rabbit hole in itself. But
I have a wild theory about how he died. I would love to talk about it in another episode.
Yes, your theory is officially my theory, and I also want to share a real quick theory that I have about the Loch Ness Monster.
Okay.
Now or
I'm gonna put it out.
Dude, do not start going against Nessie, or we're gonna have problems.
I'm just gonna put it basically out there because we're gonna wrap this up here because we've had Chris long enough on this episode. I'm gonna have him back regardless if these knuckleheads want him back. But you know what the Loch Ness Monster is? It's a whale penis. It's a whale on its back. They have 10-foot penises, I think is what one of Jackie's friends said. She has this whole theory. And that is officially the one that I'm going with.
Oh my God.
I
was going to say, did she send this to you guys?
No, when she was here recording that time.
Okay, we literally talked about this on Saturday. We were looking at well,
that is my theory.
She and I were going over the whale exploding, and then she was like, oh, like this, and then she pulled out a giant whale penis, and I was like, yeah, like that. So it looks like Loch Ness, especially side by side.
Yeah, if you're laying over and it's like semi-limp and just falling over, I think Chris is Googling it now by the look on his eyes.
Just took the picture and blacked the picture out, and it looks like a whale penis.
I just think it's dinosaur leftovers.
I don't know. You asked Kiera, and she's like, that's definitely
I've seen Kiera was here, and she pulled up several angles. And I'm like, what is your obsession with this?
I love her so much. Hi, buddy.
So a couple more things I'm going to take Jimbo's thunder is, do you think mermaids are real? Because Jimbo thinks mermaids are real.
I said there's a possibility. I never said they are real or aren't real. I said in the deep depths of the ocean, there's a humanoid mermaid.
I don't believe that mermaids exist.
Oh,
but
see, there we go.
But also, I don't want to know what the fuck's down there. I don't give a shit.
They lost
down
me.
There, can fucking stay down there. Okay. I've heard that they found a shark that's like 300 fucking years old. I don't give a fuck. Leave it alone.
Yeah.
All right. It was eating slaves and sailors long time ago, and I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't give a shit. You know when you look at old maps and there's a fucking dragon on the corner and that's your monster be there? I believe they saw some shit they didn't want other people to see, and that's why they put it on the fucking map. Okay? You not fucking go here.
All right. I got a question for him then.
It better not be the one I'm about to ask, but...
Chris?
Yeah.
Is the earth flat?
Okay, it wasn't
Man.
that one.
Man, I worked in a kitchen with a young guy who told me about the flat earth. And we would be there at 4 a.m, making biscuits, making breakfast for factory workers. And he would tell me every day about the man and the flat earth. And I felt like I was talking to Dale Gribble. And I loved every second of it. My buddy Osborne did not, and he switched shifts with me because of it. So every morning for I think a year and a half, I talked conspiracies with this one guy.
I love
until one day I finally said, "Do you think it's? Why do you think the Earth's flat? What's the overall conspiracy of why it can't be a globe?" And he said, "The white man." And I looked him dead in the face while I was making this. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I looked him dead in the face and I said, "Dale," his name was Sean Dale. "Dale, I'm a fucking white man." And he's like, "Nah, man, you're not one of those white men." And I just fucking
That's good.
I don't believe the Earth is flat, but damn, do I love talking to him.
Oh yeah, same.
They've got something for everything.
Yeah.
It is my bread and fucking butter talking to people who say the most outlandish shit.
Can we get the flat earther in here, Jackie? Because I'd love to have them head to head one episode. That would be fantastic.
I was going to say, it's James that knows the flat earther.
I don't know the flat earther.
If we can get these two people on the same call, oh my God, that we're going to go viral.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating because you have two different parties on flat Earth. You have the ones that believe we live in a dome. Mm-hmm. And then you have the ones who believe the planets exist as planets, but we're just flat. which is just like, how much crack do I have?
But is the moon flat? like a pancake.
No, see,
And
a lot of them don't think the moon's flat. They think the moon's fake, and it's hollow.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a piled on fucking conspiracy.
It's a
And I'm just
holographic
like,
projection.
Every
I'm
night.
like, please tell me more. The only problem I have with this is you get the most hardened ones that talk about it, end up with the same conclusion every time, and it starts with a fucking J, and I get tired of hearing it. Okay, that it's the J people that are doing all this. I'm like, no, it's not, guys. Did you even know any Jewish people? Do you? No. Then shut the fuck up. That's my problem with conspiracy. It's always that. It always just comes to that. And I'm just like, shut the fuck up.
So my
It's lazy
husband
thinking.
has a dear friend that he's a blacksmith, and he gets like all these people that are really into like prepping for things.
Doomsday
Yes,
prep.
the doomsday prep. And it's the freaking funniest things because like we will get together and he'll start telling us, so like, yeah, I was working this event and this guy came up and he starts talking to me and then he's like, don't worry, you're probably going to get wiretapped now. I'm affiliated with you. And he was like, okay, man, okay. You know, and so now every time that I talk to him, I really want to put a tinfoil hat on and he won't let me have it. And it's like, my husband's embarrassed by me. I was like, no, put on the tinfoil. It's good. But no, I love a good doomsday prepper.
Fascinating thing about doomsday prepping, not just the preppers, because the preppers are just people who just want to be prepared. They're like just Boy Scouts who aren't Boy Scouts. But when you get the fucking super ardent ones, those are the ones you really got to worry about because they want the end to come. They want their justified bunker. They want to justify all the bullets, all the cans of soup. They want to justify all that shit.
Well, and I mean,
They
like,
are scary.
some of them I can understand. It's more like they think that there's going to be certain destructions and things like that. But it's when they get to the, like you say, the more I want the end to come kind of thing, that gets a little scary. But when it's the people that are worried that, you know, a nuclear...
My grandma was saying 20 years ago, the end of the days is coming. Just read your Bible. The end of the
I've
days-
heard that for years.
End of days are coming.
You know what? I know one thing. It's closer today than it was yesterday, right?
That's true. And you know what?
So it is coming. Your grandma was right.
If you want to talk about end of days, look up the Millerites in the early days in the 1800s in America. And that'll give you a great idea of what end of days people are, the Millerites. All right, that's where we get the word rapture from. Not from the Bible, but from these folks.
Hey, speaking of which, isn't the rapture back on? The one that was supposed to happen in
October? I don't know.
Now it's like supposed to happen in November. Yeah, they had the dates wrong because it was the wrong calendar is what they were going on.
Man, how many damn Mayan calendars are there?
Yeah.
You think they were waiting for the Dodgers to win it before doing it, or what do you think?
He's the Cubs again, I think.
I saw where somebody took a bunch of inflatable blow-up dolls and inflated them and then threw all the clothes on the ground and let them go behind this church. It was freaking hilarious. I was like, all right. I would go there. It was good. Mm-hmm.
About to say, we've had you for a long enough, I think, tonight.
Man, I can keep going.
My last question of the evening is we just did an episode about the great Parmesan cheese heist. And what kind of cheese do you prefer on a Philly cheesesteak? Because I'm the only one that's commented that they like Cheese Whiz on a Philly cheesesteak. I thought that was the basic cheese that you put on a Philly cheesesteak.
Provolone.
In Philly, yeah, that says Cheese Whiz. Down here, they put provolone on it for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of provolone. I don't like the taste of provolone. If I'm just making a Philly at home, it's not even a Philly. It's just a steak sandwich here. It's kind of like, it's not champagne. It's champagne from France. It's not a Philly if it's not made in Philly. But no, a steak and cheese for me, man, is Munster.
Oh, I love Munster.
Okay, at least it's a different one. I'll give you that.
It's a softer cheese, and I don't use cheap steak either when making a Philly. I use top sirloin.
So something we do every episode, Chris, I don't know if you listened to an episode of ours, is we wanted to be known for something, not just cutting up and cracking jokes and everything. So every episode we highlight a missing child. And Jackie usually gives us the information. So I think she's looking up one right now. So do you have one, Jackie?
I do, yes. As a matter of fact, tonight we are going to Charlotte, North Carolina. And this is missing case number M918517291. His name is Caleb Ruby. Caleb was last seen July 16th of 2025. His current age is 17 years old. And any information about Caleb, you can actually pull it up. One moment. So sorry, Internet. Okay. You can actually contact the Charlottesville police if it will come up. I'm so sorry. Normally I have this better. Here we go.
been the theme tonight.
It is 704-336-7600. And yes, again, his name is Caleb Ruby. We'll put his information on our social medias, which I believe Dustin can tell you how to do all that.
Yep, I've got a whole backlog of that, so we'll get onto that. But we want to thank you for spending, an hour and a half, 2 hours with us through our technical difficulties. I do know now how to structure a show for you. So I had a bunch of
The
research.
structure is there is no structure when you do shows.
with Chris Morrison,
It's a bullet point.
bullet points. And I've got some great topics I think that you'll be great for if you want to come back on and talk about
I'd
them.
be happy to.
About to say, I hope the people that listen to the show go
All
on.
10 of them.
We've
Gained another one.
We've got 48 states. No, 46 states we've got downloads in, plus Washington, D.C. We're missing, obviously Alaska, Hawaii, and then one of those, Wyoming or something like that
One
nobody
of
goes
those.
to. But
Another way you could do it is if you get it somehow automatically transferred into Spanish, that kind of broadens your audience.
Very cool.
ooh, nice.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's been a blast. I'll have to look into that and see if we can't find a way to do that.
I'll say this: since I can do this from home with you guys, I'd be happy to do a cryptic conspiracy cult episode with you guys.
That would be
Charge
fun.
us for me.
I'd like to bring that back because I think
Let
the
us
world
know
needs
when
to
we
see
need
that, so.
when you get back and put it together or whatever. Let us know. Or hey, we can even let you have the audio for this too to put out there too
Yeah.
if you need some more content if you want.
Yeah, we kind of fuggled the beginning, but I think we rallied back around. So
No, I'll tell you what. Next time you want to meet up, if you guys, when's the next time you guys want to meet up?
we'll figure something out. I know we need to get Alex on here still. We've got an interview with another podcast or two coming
Is this
up.
something where we could put Alex and him together, or do they not talk to each other anymore?
Work schedules.
oh, okay.
Me and him usually meet up on Sundays.
Oh, yeah.
So
So I'd be working.
I was going to
Worst
say
case-
Tuesdays work best for us.
worst case, it can just be me, and I won't have these junk. These,
Or it could
You
just
better
be
watch
me and
yourself,
Jackie
boy.
and not Dustin.
That's right.
so. But like I said, you can find.
Just hit me up any Tuesday you want to meet up. I work at night, so I work alternating days. So I'll be off again on the 25th.
Okay.
Okay,
And
we'll
that's
see.
the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Not sure when it'll be, but like I said, I want to have you back. They can find his previous work on the Something Good Network with the Couch Potatoes. They can find them on the Cryptic Conspiracy Cult and History We Forgot. So a good backlog of episodes, good topics, just a fun time. And his style of storytelling is something I find highly, highly entertaining. So hopefully the audience does too. And
But you also thought whale penises were entertaining.
didn't think it was entertaining. I think it's the most
Oh, it's a
logical
whale
thing.
of a time. That's good.
So
Well, this has been dark.
Fun fact.
Yeah,
fun
go
fact
ahead.
Before really about Loch Ness Monster. You know who really hates the story of Loch Ness Monsters? Nazis. They hated it. They hated cryptids, and it's fascinating how much they hate Scotland and cryptids.
but yet Hitler was obsessed with the occult. That's what, he was into all these crazy things, but couldn't believe in cryptids.
Right.
Yeah, man.
He had people actively searching for the Holy Grail, but didn't believe in cryptids. It's just World War II is such a fascinating time. I don't even know how we're going to dive into it,
Oh, but we will.
but we're going to because there's just so much stuff.
I still hang out with Christy. We were hanging out today. I'll get her because she's an actual history teacher.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
And it's fascinating.
Yep. If you get with her, I was going to send her a message because is she teaching Holocaust now, or is she still
She was
just
going
teaching
to,
history?
from what I heard.
She's a Holocaust educator. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So she's going to be a great source. I'm hoping that she'll be cool to come on here because
Yeah, because Dustin will be like, it didn't happen.
no, it happened. It absolutely happened. And
Yes, it did. And that's crazy for those people that think it didn't.
Yeah.
I want to find a way to respectfully tackle that, the people who are deniers, because it's so obvious that it happened. I don't know how.
You have to be respectful to those people.
Thank you. Yes.
Respectful,
I 100% agree.
Respectful to the people who suffered and died.
Yes.
Not a shit about the people who think it didn't happen, because they can rot in hell.
Absolutely.
But like I
I know
said,
me and Alex had talked about riding up there to see y'all.
Come on up.
Yay! We would
Come
love
up
that.
to the Boone County Jail and Distillery.
Yes.
She'll hook you up.
Yes.
so we have a really cool Rotary jail, like 40 minutes from here where I live. The jail here is.
We're in a jail, dude. Why are you taking them away from me?
If the jail's being half converted into a restaurant, it's half distillery. So it's a cool place to see too. So you have where we're at. We may not get full access if the restaurant opens.
We could go.
Oh no, we can totally get full access. Lewis
We
has
could
already
still
been like,
go
we got
travel
you.
to see the Central State Hospital.
Yeah.
We need to go.
Hannah House.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of stuff, and I'm overdue for a trip to Charlotte. So,
I really want to go to the Indiana Medical Museum.
My grandma was there.
I love
so
it.
like I said, we'd love to have you here, man. It would be awesome to see you guys in person again, and be able to do something all together and have some fun. So,
Yes.
but thank you again. And like I said, we've got some stuff on the books, but we'll definitely get with you and try to get some more stuff going.
And we'll get you set up with stuff that's
Hey,
better
if you
than
ever,
Crown.
You guys ever want to do side material or anything? Just like a quick hour one.
Yeah.
I'm up for that. Just hit me up and we'll figure out a day to do it.
Hey, and since I have you on here, I do another podcast called The Tragedy of Cinema, and we do a Christmas episode called It's a Wonderful Podcast Life to give people something a little extra to listen to at Christmas time. It's all my podcasting friends. So if you and your cohorts, coworkers, enemies, whatever, want to put together a couple episodes, I'll add it to just send the file to us. I'll add it to the lineup, and then I'll send you the whole block of everything that you can put out as a bonus episode on your feed, like I do everybody.
Okay, yeah, send me a message with all the details on that.
Okay, sounds good.
All right,
It's
man.
a good one.
Like I said, I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, man.
All right, this has been Dark Discoveries, where
The deeper you dive.
The darker it gets.
Cheese Whiz on a Philly. Get out of here.